What are you doing out there?
It's very dumb. I'm at the Claremont because Amanda's company has an offsite here, and I've never been inside the Claremont.
Oh.
So I thought I would just live in this dumb, ancient, luxury Berkeley hotel that I've never been inside for a couple days.
So Jaffe, to be clear, he's in a hotel that is probably about 5 miles from his house.
Oh. On the back of a powerful beast, a jockey feels the thrill of the wind. Some will try to control the wind, but a chosen few will learn to become the wind. Through experience, a young jockey must learn to become the wind. This is episode 355 of the Insert Credit Audio Magazine, a number that Google currently describes as 51 times 711. I'm Alex Jaffe, and my unlockable alternate outfit is the top hat, suit, and bow tie I used to wear to host live trivia events.
Oh my.
Wow. Well, I do not have that. My name is Frank Sfaldi, and my unlockable alternate outfit probably be t-shirt and pajama pants, which is what I'm rocking right now. That tends to be my other state when it's not just normal person clothes.
Sleepy time, Frank.
Sleepy time, Frank, yeah. And I don't actually wear a nightcap, but let's just put one on.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and maybe it's got the butt flap too. Let's do the butt flap. It's closed. Let's be clear. It's closed, but there's the big buttons for the butt flap.
The old turby popping.
Yeah, I've heard on the playground there's a code to open it, but don't trust them.
Oh, no. I'm Tim Rogers in my unlockable alternate outfit, which is different from my Player 2 palette swap outfit. Very important to note. I've got 2 unlockable alternate outfits, but I'll pick one of them. It's just me in a suit. I've got a bespoke suit, but I'm working real hard over the course of the next couple of years to have 2 suits, so that's my Player 1 and Player 2, gray suit and blue suit.
Nice.
And then in that case, the unlockable outfit is a tweed sport coat and gray flannel trousers.
Ooh,
with a pair of color 8 shell blookers. But at present, in previous iterations, in my current Player 1, Player 2 outfit is green jacket, white shirt, blue jeans, brown boots. Is Player 1 with gold sunglasses, and then Player 2 is black jacket, black shirt, blue jeans, brown boots, and black sunglasses. But the gray suit is the unlockable one. And the other unlockable one is a yellow Hawaiian shirt with a pair of linen shorts.
That's the one I was waiting for.
And snuff suede loafers. So
yeah,
there we go. I know what they all are.
I had that in my notes as Tim's probable answer.
This is how I look at clothes, is in terms of exactly how many fighting game outfits I would need to be a bare minimum character in a fighting game.
Wow, I really hit something.
I wear a lot. I'm Brandon Sheffield. I wear a lot of different clothes combos, but my unlockable is probably for it to be unlockable, it has to be something that would be unusual, but all in one package.
Yes,
and so that would be the wrecked and painted on clothes that I wear when painting walls, laying concrete, etc.
Blue collar Brandon.
That's right.
So in other words, you want to have a Player 2 or an unlockable outfit that some kid says doesn't make any sense, and then some guy replies with a really long forum response explaining it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's right.
I do like that.
I get it.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Glad to be here. Here's my first question. Which games have the nicest fans, and which games have the smartest fans?
Nicest versus smartest. You say nice people aren't smart?
I tend to think of nice as a very different word than kind.
Mm-hmm.
Nice is almost taken on a negative aspect for me at this point. I don't know if anyone else shares that, but
I could potentially get behind it.
So sort of toxically nice, I think.
Yeah, so wholesome games.
Yes, exactly. Wholesome games.
Yes.
So that is the nicest community. They're very polite, but I don't know if that's in the spirit of the question.
No, I like it.
I think it works.
The people who put on those wholesome directs.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, there's something under the surface.
There's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with everything. If you
Something, sure.
If you kick at it long enough,
There is something bubbling under.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find the wrongness in here.
I mean, somebody pay me $4. I'll do it. I'll spend it. I'll spend 6 weeks finding it because I'm dying to. This whole "can you pet the dogism" that's been all over video games forever. The past couple of years, I'll find the evil at the heart of it. And I'll report it. I'll do it.
Every once in a while, I'll see a trailer for a video game, and it'll look so by the numbers to please that sort of audience that I get pretty weirded out.
You know what? Where I think this might be coming from for me is that what you're saying right now reminds me of the era of independent games, like IGF style games, that were custom built to get Brandon Boyer's attention when he ran the IGF.
Yeah.
And we know how that went.
Just look a little bit like Katamari, basically. That's
pretty much.
Ukulele and tin whistle and little whispers and little, somebody going in the music and the soundtrack. And I accidentally just wrote the theme song for somebody's some game someone's going to sell to Annapurna for $1 million that sells 12 copies. Go plagiarize me, bro. I don't care.
And then the smartest fans are insert credit listeners.
Oh, I was sure you were going to say Demon School.
It's not based on a couple of Twitter DMs I've received. No offense to the troglodytes.
Wait,
you're not trying to offend the troglodytes?
I'm just kidding.
It's an important
I was going to go somewhere with that, and then it was going to be too funny. So I figured I'd save that for some,
That's fair.
more scripted content in the future.
Smartest fans, that's a real hard one. Like
people who play those Zachtronics games or whatever.
Yeah, people have to use their brains.
I think I think any way you slice it, people who play 4X games. First of all, they love it when you talk about them and don't call them 4X games, because then they ask you why you don't say 4X games.
Mm-hmm.
What you're talking about is actually a 4X game, they'll tell you. And it's like, okay, man.
It's not a very fun term.
It's just, I find myself day by day judging my visage in the mirror upon a dark reflection of memories of cinematic representations of Gandalf, okay, minus beard. So it's like I don't really feel like I don't belong in the Gen Z slang pool, and I also kind of can't hang out with a lot of modern genre names. But if you've pushed my hand to this point, 4X games, people who play those tend to be pretty smart, even when they are encouraging, maybe even especially when they are encouraging carefree play. When they're like, just play, man, just do it. Who cares? Don't think too much about it. When someone tells you to not think too much about your really, really complicated strategy game, that's a pretty smart person, I think. Because they're right. Even if they are speaking to a chimpanzee, they're right. Even if they're speaking to a person who has no ability to make these decisions at all, you actually you have fun and you watch stuff happen when you just make the choice now. Let yourself lose, just kind of go bonkers, go crazy, have a good time.
I kind of wonder whether
that's pretty smart.
I wonder whether Sims fans are kind of in that zone because they're having to constantly make creative decisions. They don't have to, but they can. And that's what tends to be fun. And so you get people doing a lot of thinking without being forced to.
Games with a high degree of creative decision availability are usually, there's people who will play a game and say, I don't even play other video games. I don't even like video games, but I play this. And it's something, really, basically what we're hinting at with that kind of an answer is that the typical person who plays lots of video games just isn't very smart. But the typical person who plays a couple games could be smart if the game is The Sims and has hundreds of millions of players or whatever. Pokemon? How many people got PhDs after playing Pokemon? It doesn't matter how many years after. We didn't decide on the nicest fans, though, did we?
I thought we went with the wholesome gamers.
That's not a genre.
I don't know. Like, I know you liked it, but I don't know if it's in the spirit of the question as I understood it.
Yeah, I guess my alternate is who are the kindest gamers?
The kindest gamers. I think fighting game players.
Yeah.
Might be fighting game players.
Because they actually have to deal with people, persons, human persons.
More importantly, a lot of them have to deal with persons in real life, not over the internet.
Yeah.
And that's
what I mean.
There's any other kind of game that does that anymore.
I don't consider
right?
internet people real people.
Oh, that's
so
Brandon's not a real person to me. I've never met him in real life.
Ow.
That's true.
Okay, where did I put that question sheet?
I don't know.
Navigate away from the question sheet. Oh, I Googled 4X games, and that took me away from the question sheet.
Because you needed to know what they were.
Yeah, I want to know what the X's were.
Nobody remembers what the fourth X is.
Yeah.
They always forget. That fourth X will goddamn bite you.
Question 2.
Bite you in the back.
What's the most you've ever been hurt by a video game?
Shoot.
Well, I know this is going to sound like I'm being glib, but I did have a game console fall off a shelf and hit me in the head. And that
is kind of the sort of answer I was looking for, yes.
Like with the corner right down on the top of the head, that really hurt. I don't think I could be emotionally hurt by a video game, and so that's...
Do you remember what console it was?
You know, my first instinct was a 3DO, but I don't think I would have lived. So I think I did. Okay, it was a PS2. That's what it was. I knew it was a black box with
Slim
a sharp
version?
corner. No, the fat version.
Oh, you got the full PS2 to the head.
Yeah, I got the full PS2. It's not that heavy, but it doesn't feel.
Well,
good.
it's got the sharp corners.
Yep. Yeah. You can, if you get it just right, it doesn't feel great.
How would a game hurt me emotionally?
Well, I think some people, if you look at that internet, some people get hurt emotionally if a gun gets nerfed, or if there's a lady in it, or
maybe a really disappointing sequel. I can see that.
That's true. Childhood ruination and whatnot.
Yeah.
I've been hurt by games by getting too into them to the point that I start neglecting other parts of my life.
Oh,
that ought to do it.
Yeah, free-to-play games can suck one into that sort of a vortex.
Yeah, you can be hurt financially.
I don't have whatever that is.
Yeah, I've got it.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah. I have stopped playing free-to-play games for a while because when I was playing Clash Royale, I was setting timers so that I knew when my chests would open up with the free energy and stuff, so that I could maximize my time and not that once you get into doing that, you're ejecting fun from your life.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but yeah.
Another way a game could hurt one emotionally is if a save gets corrupted.
Oh yeah, that's that. The old Interact Saturn memory cartridge did that to me. Old people will recall that Working Designs and Interact had a feud, and they intentionally their games would not work with each other, and I was like, no way, that's real, whatever. And and I put in Albert Odyssey on the Saturn while I had an Interact memory cartridge in there, and it corrupted all my save data, and I lost my complete Panzer Dragoon Saga and my complete Symphony of the Night and some other things. And it's fun to go back through those games anyway, so it's not like a problem. But at the time, I felt hurt by the statement being true. They promised me that those things wouldn't work together, but I didn't know it was going to erase all of my memory card life. So that was sad times for me.
Man, I have a very good story that I will tell at some point in the future, but I also have a really literal story that's very recent. I was playing Incredible Crisis on the Sony PlayStation as a 43-year-old person who owns one of these mice. I'm holding up my mouse. It's an MX, Logitech MX vertical mouse. I own it for a reason, and I owned it for a reason at that time. And I was playing it for video capture because I needed footage of it for a video I was working on at the moment. And for some reason, I was playing it on original PlayStation hardware with an original PlayStation controller. And very, very shortly into the game, there's a part where you have to hammer a button to pump the brake on an elevator to stop the elevator. And I had a ganglion cyst pressing on a nerve in my wrist for a long time. They told me, it'll just go away. And it hurt all the time, especially when if I tried to do push-ups or anything, pushing open a door, I would have to use my left hand. Anyway, usually the pain went away when the action ended. I could not get that elevator to stop because the pain was so bad. And then when I was done attempting, the pain did not go away for about 8 days. So that was an actual, literal example of a video game genuinely, actually, like pretty much not injuring me because it didn't change. It didn't change the physiology at all, but
it did hurt.
Definitely hurt me. But then let me tell you this: booted it up on my Mister, got out my Xbox Elite Controller Series 2, and got right through it. So
yeah,
buttons are better now. Don't play games with the original controllers if you don't want to.
Yeah, don't play a fighting game on any PlayStation D-pad unless you want to shred your thumb into dust and get a giant blister.
Don't try to say so and so does it at fighting tournaments. Such and such esports athlete does it. He'd be better if he used a better controller, which is fearsome for his competitors to imagine. But he'd be better.
You just reminded me of my friend Yoni, who would shred up the palms of his hands playing Mario Party as a kid.
Oh yeah, dude! With
rotating
the joystick.
The joystick.
Yeah, for that one mini game that Nintendo was appalled to discover children were good at it, thus kind of igniting the Nintendo versus serious competitive video gamers Cold War that continues sort of even today, but kind of not because Splatoon exists and you don't trip and smash anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Let's talk about Concord.
The grape jam, or
yeah. What's your preferred fruit sandwich spread?
You can't let a dog anywhere near that.
Have we seen the death of multiplayer shooters outside the free-to-play model?
I don't know.
It's hard to say the death.
Yeah, hard to say the death. I do want to point out one good joke told by one friend of the show, Jeff Gersman.
It's going to be something. It's Concord. It's bad for a day.
Yeah, Concord's bad for a day is what it is.
You needed Jeff Gersman to do that. Are you amazed that I swear to God, I got that before you even started saying it. Before you even said Jeff Gerstmann, I was like, what would Brandon think is a good joke about this? Turns out the smartest video game fans are me, and the type of video game is not Concord. And also not Conker's Bad Fur Day.
The type of game is doing this show. I was not aware this game even existed by the time it was canceled.
Oh, you weren't aware?
Yeah.
I wasn't either.
Jaffe, you said you weren't aware this game even existed before the cancellation? That's interesting. Because I feel like the population of people who were aware it existed is like exclusively people who were watching that god-awful PlayStation State of Play Direct where they dedicated like 20 whole minutes. I don't know exactly how many minutes.
I think that's the only place that they really talked about it or showed it.
It was this glacial presentation of the game, and they kept showing cutscenes, and it was just god-darn flavor blasted with Joss Whedon dialogue. It was a real brain-on-fire moment because by all objective metrics that I have honed as I've wielded them through this dark corridor called playing video games for most of my life. By all those accounts, the game seemed fine. You know, it seemed like a fine game, a 5-on-5, that's MOBA style, hero shooter, Overwatch style. It seemed fine. Had design pedigree, all the way tip to tail pedigree. In terms of the game designers involved, you got your Halo in there.
It did smack very strongly of meetings, though.
Certainly, yeah.
And I think that was perceived by the potential audience and not well enjoyed.
Yeah, the whiff of corporateness.
And I do think
all over it.
That outside of free to play, it's while certainly we couldn't declare the death of that. It's hard to reach a sustainable number of players in something like that if the game is not free. If you have to purchase it in advance, you've got an uphill battle toward getting people to do it because obviously you got the game that you want to play as a player of that kind of game is the game that your friends are playing. And to shift a friend over to playing another game is an incredibly huge undertaking. and you can sometimes do it if you've got like a sequel and we're back and it's Team Fortress 3 or whatever.
If it's part of a franchise, if you've been grandfathered in from before the free-to-play model, that feels like the only way around it.
Or if it's Valve's new game, which is free-to-play, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Also a big challenge to release a free-to-play 5v5 game and have it succeed, because you still have the same problems as any game trying to tackle that market. You just have a little leg up because it's free to start figuring out that experience. But if you're trying to charge real money for it, you have to be very, very careful and really know what you're doing. It really sucks for all those people working on that game. They worked on it like 8 years.
Yeah, that's what I read.
And that's
8 years for 2 weeks.
I think it's possible to work on something for 8 years and hate it the whole time, though. So that's the silver lining. Maybe there's tons of people who just hated the thing the whole time and are like, I'm glad it's dead.
But they probably still wanted a job.
Certainly. Yeah.
So that's
the job. The job is the thing.
Yeah, that's
I only just saw a little tweet go by, but Trier said something about a rumored 9-digit dev budget on that game too.
Wow.
Yeah. It definitely wouldn't be a small budget, and Sony's idea to go all in on multiplayer, I thought that meant free to play, but it didn't.
It might now, because this is clearly not like shutting down forever. They're halting sales and they're refactoring the thing.
Yeah, well,
Suicide squatting it, except that they released it.
Yeah, they may try to do free to play, but I don't know that's. I don't think it's like, once you have the discourse around it of dead game, it is very difficult to claw your way back. The
stain of being a completely unreleased, refunded video game. Yeah, it's a pretty big historical stain to have. I mean, they did that with Cyberpunk. They pulled it from the store and refunded people, if you remember that. PlayStation did. Nobody else did, but PlayStation did. Cyberpunk is fine now. It's even better than ever. I recently replayed the beginning of Cyberpunk, and it's just a good video game now.
I think it helps that Cyberpunk was first of all actively anticipated, and second of all,
hugely
kind of like it's an extension of something that people liked, like the idea of sci-fi Witcher or whatever. The degree to which that's what it actually was. The spark of that in one's imagination couldn't be dimmed by it having bugs for a while.
Yeah. I mean, people were they were signed up to have a good time no matter what. And there were enough people like me who were signed up to have a good time no matter what, that it ended up doing okay. And I don't think, Concord didn't have any of that. It looked kind of like Square Enix's Guardians of the Galaxy, which is kind of worrying because that game looked kind of like the movie, which looks different from the comic book. Like, it's kind of like all these different layers of abstraction applied atop, like, I don't know. We have so many of these games and so many of them made by Sony that are just about like kind of cool looking, like hot people, but also weird people and shiny people in cities made of garbage, like fighting with thousands and thousands of bullets per button press. I think everything's got to look like everything else, or it runs the risk of not looking like anything.
I think it's one thing that's remarkable about Sony is they've existed for a long time here in this video game space
without an identity,
without having like a bunch of characters that they could mine for something like this. Like with Foam Stars, though it did not do well, at the very least you could be like, well, maybe I can buy a Cloud skin, or there's characters that they have that they could sell to you. But Sony has like God of War and Sackboy, and that's why when you look at like PlayStation Fighting All Stars,
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale with the fat.
There's some product or another where it's just Kratos and Sackboy standing next to each other, and it's just like the saddest looking thing.
Yeah.
Like, who is Kratos? He's a relatable protagonist for ex-football players, and then Sackboy. Who is Sackboy? He's a relatable protagonist for
children's stuffed animals.
Children born rich whose parents die in a yachting accident and now live in a cupboard under the stairs. Like,
I've heard that in the new God of War series, they made Kratos' new catchphrase "boy" so that it would make more sense for him to interact with Sackboy.
That sounds right.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Anyway, my closing here is they sold Kratos out to goddarn Fortnite. He's in Fortnite, you know. Remember when every single movie and TV studio was had their movies available to view on Netflix, and then like 8 years later they're like, "Hey, you're making more money off our stuff than we are." Right?
Yeah.
When's that going to happen with video games? Right? Fortnite's making billions of dollars because people want Kratos in there, and Nathan Drake is in there, right?
Yeah, well, I guess that's what Sony's trying to do.
Yeah. We should make our own Funko Pops.
Yeah.
But also remember, Fortnite was not a very popular game when it came out until they ripped off PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Right.
Yep.
Next topic. Imagine it's 1994. Arcade machines can be found in pizza shops, bowling alleys, and laundromats. Which businesses would you try to expand arcade cabinets to, and what games would work best with them?
Okay, 1994.
So 94 is Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat 2. Those are your biggies.
Well, you got Daytona USA as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Do.
It's hard to imagine that outside of an arcade environment because of its size. But
I know where you could put that one is in the boulevard or the courtyard section of a mall. You could totally put some.
Oh, just have it like outside.
Mhm.
Not outside, but like in the
It not in a building and not in one of the rooms of the mall, but in the passage areas of the mall. I think that would be a fine place to do that sort of thing. You might get some complaints about loitering, but so it goes. It might be. I feel like my needs were relatively satisfied by where they were already. Like your pizza shops, like great, good.
You know what? In 94, I don't think they were in bars.
That's true. Yeah, they might not have been.
Adults
Most
weren't
likely
playing
not,
them yet.
yeah.
Yeah, I would invent the barcade.
That's very smart, Frank.
Yeah, that's a good
What
idea.
else would you do in 1994 with your future knowledge gift?
I mean, I think Frank would go straight up bankrupt inventing the barcade in 1994.
He'd go Frankrupt.
He'd go Frankrupt.
Yeah, no one is nostalgic yet. Maybe if my barcade has like Galaga.
I recall older Gen X persons, i.e., the sort of person who's going to hang out in a bar in the year 1994, being generally pretty jaded about anything pop cultural.
Well, sure, but also let's keep in mind
and sensitive to kids stuff as well.
Sure, but NBA Jam is a game played by NBA players at that time. So, like putting,
they're not the typical bar goer, though, are they?
Well, no, but they are endorsed by real athletes, right? So putting NBA Jam Tournament Edition in a sports bar in 94 might actually work.
It could work. It could work.
It could
Maybe
work.
not a full-on barcade.
Right. I think I agree with that. But a sports
because
bar.
I mean, pinball machines were in bars.
That's what I was gonna say. Is pinball? It was pinball was there. Actually, I do remember bars with pinball, and it was relatively popular. But I remember thinking, as a young person, being in a bar / eatery with a parent. What are those pinball machines doing there? Who's playing that? And it was like old leather-clad bikers and stuff.
That was a plaything for hard drinking, hard smoking, hard dudes. In its heyday, which is so cool to think of. So I actually have two sincere suggestions here. First of all, there is an airport that one of us has lived near, that everyone who goes to for the first time remarks upon seeing a particular thing every time they get off the plane. What airport am I talking about?
Oh, you're talking about... Oh, wait.
Well, I'm going to guess McCarran Airport in Las Vegas.
That's what I was going to guess. Oh, but I couldn't remember if you said has lived near or does live near.
Has lived near.
Okay. Yeah, that was my guess also then.
Yeah, Frank has lived in Las Vegas, right?
Yes.
I didn't imagine that, did I?
I grew up there, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, everybody who goes to McCarran Airport or whatever, I assume every airport has a different name now. Las Vegas, Yeehaw.
Oh, actually, I don't think it's McCarran anymore.
Guy Fieri Airport.
I think it's Harry Reid Airport.
Yeah, it changed, and I got really confused.
They really do like to be changing them airport names, don't they?
They do. Do you hear the Oakland airport changed its name?
San Francisco Bay, Oakland, right?
San Francisco Bay Area's Oakland Airport. So embarrassing.
Yeah,
It's just,
kill me, bro.
It's just
Kill me, bro.
embarrassing.
Bob Hope Airport is now Hollywood Burbank Airport. I think we've been over this before.
Yeah.
But anyway, everybody getting off at McCarran / Harry Reid / Guy Fieri / Gordon Ramsay Airport or Caesar's Palace, the airport, remarks at the slot machines.
Yes.
Right? Wouldn't it be nice if there were an airport where everyone goes, ooh, they've got Daytona at this airport, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Shouldn't it be like O'Hare in 94?
Yeah. O'Hare in 94.
Oh, what if it's Midway and it's full of Midway games?
Yeah.
I was getting there. That's good. Yeah. Imagine playing Cruisin' USA at Midway Airport.
Yeah, there you go.
Even though that's not 94, it's fine. Killer Instinct at Midway Airport. Imagine that, if you will.
I will.
And then number 2, and this is something I have deep history with. They should have had arcade games at Target stores. They should have just had one arcade machine up at the front of the Target. Not if you were a younger person, if you were a Chibis listening, any listening Chibises, please understand that a Target store in 1994 did not look pretty much anything like what it looks like in the year 2024. A Target store in 1994 looked more like an old-timey small-town Woolworth store with big glass front windows than it does now. I remember frequently wishing with fellow coworkers that they just had an NBA Jam or a Mortal Kombat machine there or a Street Fighter machine. And we remember saying this to the management, and they were like, no, that would attract an unruly element. So I think that would have been a good idea to have fighting games at regular old retail stores and supermarkets, which we just didn't have where I was. All right. There was so much space up front. They could have had like 4 arcade machines and had no hit at all to the square footage. There was just empty space.
I don't know that our Targets did, but in Vegas, it was just well understood, and maybe still is, now that I think about it, that most places of business have a zoned casino section in the front that has slot machines. And some of those would then also incorporate arcade games. I don't know if this was common anywhere else, but my supermarkets had Street Fighter and NBA Jam and stuff like that.
That's so good. We had on military bases, there was a separate little arcade zone that was attached to the supermarket / retail store. The BXPX and the commissary had like a little designated arcade zone, and they had an Anthony's Pizzeria, which usually had a Neo Geo, but it was never on the floor in the store. In the base or the post or even any of the like off post places I ever went. So I just thought it would be cool if it was in the store.
Yeah, I have one more idea real quick, which would not have flown in 1994, but a library.
Oh yeah, dude.
Get young persons into the library and used to going to the library because they got Street Fighter 2.
It would have to be a game like Darius with a headphone jack.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something where you can be somewhat quiet. But libraries of today, you don't have to be quiet in them. So
yeah. Have you all seen this? You go into an airport and a library, everybody's just yelling, pounding the table.
Yes.
Quoting names.
Going, books.
That's right. Anyway, library. That's my pitch.
Good pitch. Something to think about as we go into our quick break. I had an interesting encounter yesterday where I was pulled aside by this street team of people raising money for charity, covering children with cancer's medical bills, but everything looked kind of weird about it. I looked them up. Their website went to this barely funded GoFundMe page. I found a bunch of posts on Reddit talking about how they were this like national scam organization, just like taking advantage of people. I didn't know what to do. They were just on the corner of 86th and 3rd, just out in broad daylight, getting people to give them money.
Put your phone up to your ear and go, hello, police?
Yeah.
And they'll leave you alone.
Oh, no. What I did was I stood out there for like half an hour, and every time someone came to their table, I said, hey, this is a scam. Get out of here.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And they were like, you got to leave us alone. And I'm like, my meetings were canceled. I got nothing else to do. I can do this all day. And they had to like pack up their table and leave.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good for you, Javi.
Welcome back to Insert Credit. Brandon had to take care of some stuff, so the rest of this show will be played by the three of us.
Wait, okay, Jaffe says Brandon had to take care of some stuff. That's putting it very interestingly. Brandon literally was sitting here and we were talking about Al Bundy. And then he said, oh my God, I just remembered something. And I was like, what? And he said he just remembered that Bonk's Revenge exists for the TurboGrafx 16. And he decided he was going to play that instead of being on the show. So, there he is. That's it.
I mean, I do kind of wish I was playing Star Wars Outlaws right now. Good news. Remember when I was like, oh, I really want this game to be good? It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Great.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to play that.
Yeah. I'm having a good time.
I play any Ubisoft open world slop they care to put out. I'm like, let's try it. Let's try it. And then you put about 22 hours in and you're like, well, that was $60. You start figuring the dollars per hour. I got real good at dividing up 60 by some number greater than 20 and smaller than 30. Let me tell you, it's a number between 21 and 29. And I mean, they're $70 now, right? So, more is the merrier, as they say.
Oh, I'm planning to get this down to $1 an hour, baby.
Oh man, $1 an hour. Yeah, that's the gold standard. That's the gamer's gold standard. Can you get $1 an hour? Because it used to be you'd get 25 cents to die almost immediately in Pac-Man as a 2-year-old. So, you got to get those numbers up. If we can all reach the end of our gaming careers having spent $1 per hour of entertainment, the mission has been accomplished, my friend. Right?
Yeah.
See, I'm going to play that Star Wars Outlaws, dude. I'm going to play it.
I'm a big Star Wars baby. The one thing I wanted from it was to be able to go to a bunch of CD cantinas and cheat at Sabacc, and they let you do that. Yeah.
I've earmarked it. I hate to use the phrase earmarked because I don't know what the origins of it are, and I know it might have problematic connotations somewhere. I've earmarked it.
Have not considered the problematic possibilities for earmarking.
Yeah, not until this very moment.
But let me tell you, studying etymology is just a journey. It's just a journey and it's just a colonialism minefield, basically. Most of the words that sound fun. Ooh, I've earmarked it. Wait, what does that mean? And you start thinking about it and you're like, oh no, I hope it's a farmer's word for cows or whatever. And then you start freaking out. I didn't think about that until just now. But I've earmarked Star Wars Outlaws, Jaffe, as a potential Christmas game. Every year I like to buy myself a video game and play it on Christmas. This is what you have to do as an adult. If you're listening to this show, I've recently been made aware we have like 16-year-olds listening to this show. Did you know this?
Ew.
Like, wow. First of all, if you're 16 years old, learn how to drive now. Don't be like some people I know who are over 30 years old and can't drive. And then when I need them to drive, I need someone to just circle the block. They can't drive. Like, just learn to drive now. Make yourself useful to me. This is basically what I'm saying.
This is your recommendation to the person who you suggested move to New York so they can have a van near
have a van, a Ford F-350. Yeah. Man, people tried to goddarn fight me on that. The F-350. They're like, oh, does it have to be an F-350? Yes!
You wouldn't have specified if it didn't have to be a Ford F-350.
Anyway, I'm letting, once you 16-year-olds listening now, there's going to be a point in your life, and you'll know it when it comes, when you decide to dip a toe into the darkness. And one of those moments is, what do I do on my birthday? What do I do on Christmas? Eventually, no one is going to give you presents unless, they're very close to you.
Yeah.
And the older you get, the fewer of those people you have. So get close to it yourself and start getting into the habit of giving yourself a video game for your birthday and a video game for Christmas. And the present isn't the purchase. The present is the playing. Live in the present. Live in the video game that you are playing as a present. That's what I would recommend to any children.
Sounds like a Sony advertisement.
Yeah.
Live in the present. The present of the video game you were playing that you gave yourself as a present. They should let me write the taglines for these things. Right. But that's my potential Christmas game, Jeffy.
Yeah, I had a dirtbag question here, but it's one I want Brandon to be here for. So let me dig up a different one. Give me a number between 1 and 800.
Oh,
1 and 800. 720, dude.
720.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
It's 2 full 360s.
All right. This question's from MoxBagel, one of our patrons at patreon.com/insert credit, where for $1 a month, you can ask us your questions, get monthly bonus episodes, and other fun surprises. MoxBagel asks, please select the ideal game for each meal. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, supper, and Taco Bell fourth meal.
Oh, what's the difference between dinner and supper?
I don't know. Jaffe?
I think supper is more formal.
It seems like of all of us, you have maybe... No, actually, I would think of the three of us, Tim's upbringing was the most likely to have experienced supper.
My dad called it supper, and my grandfather and grandmother called it supper. But then my dad stopped calling. This is where we're just treading on dark territory here. My dad stopped calling it supper sometime after his dad died. He just started calling it dinner. So
okay, so supper is a meal you have with your dad.
Supper's a meal you have with your dad in the Appalachian Mountains while enjoying a cool mountain breeze and the thrill of hillbilly blood coursing through your veins. Is that it?
Growing up, dinner was something we had at the end of the day because you have an end of the day meal, and supper is like an event where you have people over.
I think as a semi-professional linguist and an amateur etymologist, I would say a dinner is an event that is arranged and there's people, and the supper is just the generic term for eating an evening meal. I think.
We had it the other way around.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Supper was or the other way around.
I think dinner's formal. Yeah, dinner's formal. Supper is just like...
I invite you to a dinner party.
Open a can of pickles in front of the TV at 8 o'clock. That's supper.
Yeah, I just had a goddamn Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade moment, Jaffe, where you're like, you had it the other way around. And I'm like, you know what, maybe you're right. And then I was like, no, the carpenter's cup, the simple cup, not the golden cup fit for the King of Kings.
You have chosen well.
Jesus, the Last Supper was not a formal meal. It was just a bunch of guys having a meal.
You wouldn't know that from the painting. Now, breakfast, I think, is wake up time.
Yeah.
And I don't always do this, but I sometimes have phases where I will put on an arcade style, maybe literally an arcade or like an Atari 2600 game on my Mister.
Yeah.
In the morning, and it's like a score attack kind of game. So are we listing specific titles? Is that the idea?
Yeah. What's the game you're picking?
So I have a choice that kind of lines up with this, and it also lines up with we would be remiss to not, if I didn't point this out, someone would ask me if I was aware of this. I do know the phrase wake and bake. It means wake up and immediately start smoking weed. Okay, I know that phrase. Okay, I'm not a goddarn child. So for years, I've had this notion that I've only pulled off a couple times that was called wake and quake, which is play Quake immediately after waking up. And I actually did it a little bit when the Quake Night Dive remaster came out for the Nintendo Switch. So that's my pick for breakfast
I'm
game.
good for Wake and Quake.
Yeah, for Quaker Oats.
Wake and Quake.
So that's breakfast settled. What's our lunch game?
Lunch, my approach to lunch is think about how I need to still do stuff today. And so I don't want to be in a situation where I'm hindered by what happens to me. So it can't be something that I'm distracted by or makes me upset. Like it has to be a very neutral, just minimal nourishment kind of game. So what would that be?
I think
it's similar to breakfast, but it's not it's time to wake up, right? It's just like time to take a break, right? To reset. So I'm thinking not like frantic score attack. I'm thinking more of a like an Animal Crossing kind of situation, a check-in kind of
collect
game.
all your berries or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Animal Crossing is the good answer because it's just kind of depressing to visit your island at night every single time you play.
Yeah.
You ever had this where it's every time you play, it's at night and it's just kind of sad. You want to see those trees during, in their full green, but you can't.
Yeah.
Because you never turn it on in time.
I think there's a reason like the most iconic tracks from the game are like 4 p.m., 5 p.m.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because they want that to be peak hours. Or maybe it's just that's the time most people play it.
Chicken egg situation there.
Maybe all the tracks are good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're all good and we're just sleeping on some of them because,
we're literally asleep.
Yeah, could be.
We're sleeping on them because we're sleeping.
Right.
We're sleeping.
Okay, Animal Crossing is lunch. What is dinner and supper?
When you sleep on them.
So dinner, have we decided, is formal?
Dinner, I think, is formal.
Okay.
So, I mean, within the hypotheticality of this question, are we eating these meals or are we subsisting on video games and choosing which video games suffice?
It didn't specify, but I like the latter.
Oh, just we're like the
video game is our meal.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Oh, that's not how we've been approaching this, but I guess it kind of is. Okay.
Yeah.
We could just say it is.
All right. Sure.
So, a dinner game would be a game that kind of feels like everybody's all here,
Yeah.
Super Smash Brothers.
Everyone's here. Well, I think I don't want anyone in my house.
Yeah, exactly.
A dinner for me is I don't know. Like, well, I mean, for me, like I do at home have dinner with my wife. It's a thing. And I think it's similar to that. Like it is a sit down at the table, discuss the day kind of meal. So I think it is like an MMO. I think it's grinding with your pals on some kind of game. It doesn't have to be an
Fantasy
MMO, I guess, but it's an online multiplayer something.
Let's just say Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going.
And I guess supper is Fortnite, something like that. You get on, it's easy.
Hit it in. Yeah.
It's there, and you can also, anybody who's played Fortnite, first of all, every time I ever mention Fortnite, someone asks me if I hate Fortnite. I don't hate Fortnite. I've played it quite a bit, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. It's possible to turn on Fortnite and then just kind of play for quite some time. A bit of an understatement. It's possible to just play the heck out of it for sort of a long time and feel like you're really gaming if you want to. Taco Bell Fourthmeal?
Yeah.
I feel like that's running laps on the Nürburgring in Gran Turismo 7 with the PSVR on at like 3 a.m. I feel like it's something like that.
Second Nürburgring episode in a row. Let's go 3 for 3 next week.
Burger Ring. The Burger Ring is a reference to the much ballyhooed intestinal distress causing White Castle menu. That's not true. They never had a burger ring. Did they have chicken rings? They have a burger ring.
They do have chicken
Never
rings.
a burger ring.
And I know you don't eat meat, so I can tell you that they're fine.
They're fine.
I don't know if you've had any White Castle, but
I've had plenty. Yeah.
Okay, so within White Castle quality rating spectrum, it's maybe like assuming the best thing is a 10, right? I'd say the chicken rings are like 6 or 7. They're just a little dry.
Dry, yeah. I mean, dry is a thing at White Castle. I'm a little boy from Wichita, Kansas, which is where White Castle is from. In case you didn't know that, W and then a K sound. Wichita, Kansas, White Castle. It starts to make sense. I don't think that's why they called it that, but it is from Wichita, Kansas, and they're one of the more vegetarian friendly of fast food places. So you can eat a meal that feels substantial. Unlike McDonald's, which does not have anything aside from French fries and salad in a cup, White Castle, you can get mozzarella sticks, you can get onion rings, and you can get French fries. And that's before they even introduced their beautiful spectrum of vegetarian veggie burgers, which are all very delicious. But anyway, talk about Fourthmeal. Okay, just shooting the Nürburgring. Everybody drive the Nürburgring. Give it a shot. I've been trying to teach my girlfriend how to drive a car by making her drive around the Nürburgring, which I think is a beautiful way to learn how to drive because it has all the types of turns and it's leisurely and it's fun. You play it in time trials. Me and my buddy, we talk about the Nürburgring all the time because we love it. And it's just been 20 some years of this, driving the Nürburgring in video games. I love it. I'm not even kidding. It's a wonderful track to drive. Everybody check it out.
It's the Normandy Beach of driving games.
I mean,
Normandy Beach Babe-O-Rama of video games.
I think that's Laguna Seca.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's not Laguna Seca. I think the Normandy Beach. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
All right, last question. What's the Normandy Beach of driving games?
Well, it's not Times Square in New York, Manhattan, which I referenced last week, and then someone told me in a DM that would just kind of really peeved me off and made me call the people who listen to this show not very smart, the troglodytes earlier in the episode, is they were like, you're forgetting Grand Theft Auto 3 and 4. And I'm like, those aren't racing games. And also it's video gamified, you rube. I want a bespoke Manhattan street race course is what I want. I've actually been thinking about this a lot since saying that on the show. I have the route all planned. It's pretty good. It's pretty nice. It would be impossible to do in real life. That's how cool it is. Because you can never get all those roads shut down, which is why we need the fantasy of it. What's the Normandy Beach of racing games?
Is that the actual question?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Unless you have like a real snappy answer for it.
It is a stupid question. So.
Yeah.
Stupid questions deserve snappy answers, Charles. It's not Laguna Seca, and it's not the Nürburgring, because Normandy Beach is that was a moment in video games, right? Right? I mean, that was just, it was in a couple of World War II games all in a row because of Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Let's not think about that too much further.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, all right, here's my next question. What is the best game design? Duck hunting, deer hunting, or fishing?
Shoot.
Oh, okay.
Shoot.
I don't think it's duck hunting. There's not a lot of strategy.
You got dogs there, though.
Maybe in real life with decoys and stuff, but I've never seen that in a duck hunting game.
You got the dog whistle. I think we're talking duck hunting in real life, right?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So what's the best game design in real life for hunting? Okay. I mean, deer hunting's pretty complicated.
I think it's deer hunting.
Yeah.
I think there's enough systems there. The level design of any given forest is just mind-boggling beyond the capacity of any video game, any man-made experience. The idea of the high-vis vests, the thrill of accidentally shooting an old friend and killing him and then having to bury him in the woods.
I mean, that also happens in quail hunting.
The mechanicals of trying to shoot the deer in a place that won't ruin its coat, its meat, its skull, its antlers. Like, you don't want to blow an antler off. You lose points, right? If you blow an antler.
I mean, it looks cool, but
yeah,
in the game.
The announcer voice is pretty good when you blow an antler off.
Yeah.
Antler shot. And you're just like, yeah, dude. You know, there's video games at large have been, we like to make fun of the deer hunting video games at the front of the Walmart, right? Which weren't there in 1994, interestingly. We like to make fun of the deer hunting games at the front of the Walmarts in the Midwest. Cabela's Big Deer Hunter or Big Game Hunter, whatever. But video games but like very, very video game designerly video games have been like kind of very smoothly gradiating toward incorporating all the sublime systems of an actual deer hunt over the last 20-some years with the stealth and the survival and all of that. I think there's something there. I don't hunt deer, by the way, because I don't kill stuff. Right? Does anybody here kill stuff?
No, we're talking merely theoretically. The same way we killed aliens in Halo.
Now, I think fishing is neat when you see the big fishers going out there going crazy.
I think fishing has... So, okay, it comes down to... It's basically a stealth game or like a strategy game, like resource management. Because fishing, you got to think about different lures. You got to like... pick the spots that you cast in, things like that. The weather affects things. Deer hunting is much more of a patient stealth kind of game. Yeah. I tend to prefer stealth over strategy. So I think for me, it's deer hunting.
Yeah, I think deer hunting is the ultimate hitman level, I think.
Well, it's a really boring hitman level. You just sit in one spot and wait.
Yeah, that's...
It's like the worst challenge of all the three games.
I mean, imagine assassinating like a real like world dictator or ruler or whatever. That would probably be more like deer hunting than hitman, right? Yeah. Fishing's got stuff to it. There's the paraphernalia aspect of the boat. Got to kill the motor, right? Got to choose the lure, right? But the purity of deer hunting is just...
it's just you and the deer and a gun and wherever you set up.
Deer, a gun, or a compound bow. You could be using a bow. And there's also the thrill of, I don't really get too patriotic up in here, but killing a deer, we are the predators of deer. Like human beings are that's like one of the animals we have killed since prehistory, right? So it's kind of the ecosystem, man. It's just been game designed since before we had a word for anything. Before we had a word for words, it's been game designed. Yeah. So it's like, it's time immemorial, dude.
The oldest game.
You can hunt deer with goddarn rocks, man. Like, it's in our goddarn DNA. So again, I do not foresee ever going out and killing a deer on my own to feel that thrill.
But the closest thing to a video game designed by nature for humans is deer hunting.
Deer hunting.
Exactly. It's, fishing as well, but we've, much like with deer hunting, we've designed kind of insane barrels of paraphernalia to attach to fishing. We've gotten better at it, you know. But hunting a deer with a bow is pretty close to the caveman experience versus hunting a fish with a motorized boat, knowing where they are and using a radar and, having all sorts of sophisticated lures with ultrasonic bobblers and whatever on them. I don't know exactly how they fish either because I'm not interested in that. What was the other one?
It was, duck hunting.
So duck hunting, you have a dog.
Yeah.
And you have a little quacking whistle and a big old shotgun.
Yeah, that's fun.
That stuff's neat. You get to wear derbies. Well, if you're hunting in the quail hunting, the English country style, you get to wear derbies. I'm talking the shoes, not the hats. I would have said a derby if I meant the hat. You get to wear derbies or hunt shoes. You know, you get to wear good old, big old trousers, a houndstooth sport coat, a hunting jacket, right?
I mean, just the word hound is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Just on its own.
Yeah, you don't really get to say hound outside of a hunting context.
Yeah, or like singing the Elvis song.
I'm sure some hunting paraphernalists in the chat will kind of object to my conflating duck hunting and quail hunting, but I'm going to do it. Just put all the kind of game bird hunting.
Yeah, fowl hunting, bird
fowl hunting. They're just kind of
game birds. That's what they're for.
Yeah, game bird.
You just have a big thing to beat the grass, to scare the birds into the sky. You got a dog that goes and gets them and brings them to you.
I think we're going to go with deer hunting for this one, though.
Okay, well, what's number two? Number two, I'm going to give it to ducks because I like the little quacking whistle. I like the quacking whistle.
Fishing is just too much.
Yeah, fishing's too much of an idle
Fishing
game.
is like a soccer manager or something. You know,
there's something about fishing that it feels like it just kind of doesn't really feel like a $60 AAA title. It feels like a mini game.
I'm not going to be getting the gamer standard out of a fishing game. $1 an hour.
You're not going to be getting your $1 an hour, unless you're the one rare gamer who's like, all I did was fish, dude.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 15, I don't even know what happens in the story. I just got to the fishing.
Time for a lightning round.
All right.
We are doing GameFAQ&As. This is the segment where I pick a bunch of questions posted to the website GameFAQs. Every video game on that website has a dedicated Q&A section where people ask questions and other people answer them. I take those questions from the headline of those posts, context free, and we answer them as snappily as possible. You are not graded for accuracy. Here we go. Question number 1. Is there a walkthrough for this game?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was asked on GameFAQs. Yes, there is a walkthrough for this game on the tab right to the left of this.
Wait, so is this for a specific game like usually?
Oh, yeah, it is for a specific game.
But you're just not telling us?
I forgot to say what it was because I was rushing through that intro. This game is Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the remake from 2019.
Okay.
Not remake, reboot. Now we can start in earnest. Question 2. How do I throw the knife at Shepard?
At Shepard? I think it's just the Y button. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that's the answer is I think it's just the Y button.
It's a good answer.
Because a lot of times people who answer these things just don't actually go double check their memories.
Right.
They're just like, I think it's this.
All right. How often does the store rotate?
How often does the store rotate?
Oh, the one at the top of the Space Needle in Seattle?
Yeah.
Isn't it like every 45 minutes, something like that?
Yeah, I think it's about every 45 minutes.
Right. Yeah. What's your favorite loadout?
Does it rotate faster if you order like the special meal?
Yeah, if it's your birthday, it starts going.
If you get it to go, they just spin you around right away. All right, you want to see everything? Hold on, stand right here. Wow.
All right, what was this question? What was the best loadout?
Yeah, what's your favorite loadout?
favorite loadout?
Phone, wallet, keys, dude.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with it.
The Sandler special.
BWK.
What am I doing about Damascus?
How should I know?
This goddamn sounds a whole lot like your business, to be honest.
When two guys are jumping from the bus, how do you keep the guy from falling off?
Trick question. Not enough information.
Yeah.
Not enough information.
This felt like a trolley problem to me.
Yeah, I don't know which guy or which of the two guys. I don't know.
Like which bus line is it? Like,
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, not enough information.
This next question had no further context, so I'm just presenting it as is. What does dick and balls?
Ask your teacher.
Yeah.
I think, your friend is, I don't know. I'm trying to make a joke about Lucky and Wild.
Yeah.
I think you're playing a vandalized Lucky and Wild cabinet.
Yeah.
There we go.
Is Stadium the new superstore?
No. I think
It's still
Walmart's the
Walmart.
only-
Yeah.
Walmart's the
Still
only
Walmart.
superstore still.
Has anybody sued Activision?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I did. So, I mean, I know the answer is yes.
And finally, how do you appear offline?
Log off.
Yeah, just be offline. literally try being offline. Yeah.
Well, that's our show. Thanks for joining me here. Always a delight. Anyone have any recommendations this week?
I might.
You might, yeah. I don't think I do, so go for it.
So I have what I would describe as a recommendation of emergency Godeyism. I mean, normally I would wait until the end of the year, or God forbid, the Godey show. But I feel like there's an emergency recommendation of a video game, and I don't mean emergency as in somebody's going to die or imminent harm will befall anyone. I mean emergency as in you just need to play this now so you don't look stupid later. And that is Shadow of the Ninja Reborn, the latest Tengo Project game. Tengo Project, the makers of Wild Guns, Ninja Saviors, Return of the Warriors, which is in Japan called Ninja Warriors Once Again, which is a sequel to Ninja Warriors Again, which is a remake of Ninja Warriors. It's kind of convoluted. And then they've also released Pocky and Rocky Reshrined. And now they have Shadow of the Ninja Reborn, which is their first game that is a remake of an 8-bit video game. And it is a wonderful example of what loosely based can do for retro gaming. And it is some of the absolute most incredibly gorgeously luxurious pixel art I've ever seen. We did an episode of this show once where we ranked all of the treasure video games. It's very fun to just think this game should be at the top. It's not a treasure game, but it should just be. We should just an honorary position at the top. It's good that I'm mentioning it now because it would be fun to see if Brandon mentions it later.
Yeah, that'll be the game. How long after this episode will it take Brandon to mention this game?
Because I know it's going to come up in the Godey show, but is it going to come up as a game Brandon didn't like? That's the question.
Man.
That's my little gamble here.
This year's gone by. I kind of stopped playing stuff. Dang it.
You know what they said in Shrek about the years?
Is it the...
You know what Shrek said about that? I like to attribute the Smash Mouth song All-Star to Shrek.
Is it that they're better out than in?
Oh, yeah, they're better out. Oh, my God. Holy Lord. The years start coming and they don't stop coming, Frank. It's just, it's that time of the year, the end of it, pretty much every time you kind of whip your head around, it's the end of the year again. But, I mean, I was playing that Shadow of the Ninja Reborn, and it was beginning to look a lot like Godey within like 20 seconds and 30 seconds. And it's a tough game. I'm going to tell anybody listening to this, it's pretty hard. And they'll be goddarned if they're going to explain a single thing to you about it. There's a manual in the pause menu. You basically want to learn all the basic movement related stuff. You want to understand that they expect you to commit to every button press and not play frivolously. And once you learn how to use the inventory menu and run up walls and do the floaty jump, and when you learn the fact that you should be using both of your weapons all of the time, you're in for just one of the most technical mastery encouraging, just corporeally fulfilling video games I've played in a very, very long time. I played it on a stream last week, and my stream viewers got to watch me kind of struggle through learning all of the controls and such, because I'm a big fan of the original game, and this is a drastic reinterpretation of it. I mean, it's not unrecognizable. Some of the level geometry is the same. I could go into more detail, but it's just, I have not been so impressed on a minute mechanical level with an action game in a very, very long time. If you've ever thought driving a stick shift automobile is quote unquote more fun than an automatic transmission, and you're also, I don't know, in your 40s and you played games in the 90s, I mean, recommendations this rock solid do not come along very frequently. So I would wholeheartedly endorse that game. If you're listening to this show, there's just probably a pretty big chance you're playing it already. But if in case you're not, it's glorious. I got it on Steam, and I'm playing it on my big old OLED TV. It looks gorgeous. Just wonderful experience.
All right.
I haven't played a game in a minute, so I don't have any recommendations.
You should try this Shadow the Ninja if you want to play just a crispy action game.
I might. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it does seem like an easy homework assignment for the game of the year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could easily go down.
It seems like something I can have an opinion on.
Mm-hmm.
You could easily goatee down on that one. Yeah, it's fun.
I wonder if I'm going to play that Gimmick sequel. I don't know.
When is that?
I think it's out now.
Did you get the Hebereke last year?
It was this year, in fact.
This year? Oh, this year. Yeah, okay. It felt like 8,000 years ago.
I mean, I enjoyed it as a game that I played to completion in like 2 sittings. I like that in a game. So I liked it for that reason, but have I thought about it literally at all since then? No.
That's interesting, but it's on your goatee list. Probably.
So far, it probably is.
So, I mean, that Shadow of the Ninja is one. There's some goatee games out there. I don't know what I was talking about. What, are you going to play that Astrobot game?
I don't have a PS5. I'd have to borrow another one from Amazon if I want to play that.
Oh, the old Amazon borrow technique. Yeah, I'm going to play that Astrobot game, but I'm wondering if it's going to end up on my goatee list. The answer is probably not.
Everyone seems the day we're recording this is the day that game came out, and the internet, as it still exists, is collectively freaking out about that game.
Yeah, they're saying it's as good as Super Mario Galaxy or whatever, and it's
Galaxy
like
2. So that's how you know it's the real ones.
Oh shoot! I'm gonna play that game. Not Galaxy 2. I've played that already. I'm gonna play. Why is Galaxy 2 not in that collection for the Switch? I'm gonna play Astro Bot, which is one letter away from Astro Boy. I always stumble on it, but man, I'm just like preemptively sad about it because it's got all these references to games they're just never gonna make another one of. And then their CEO goes out in public and is like, we don't have any IP to draw upon. Or whatever boneheaded statement got made. Oh, well, there's an Ape Escape level in it. It's like, okay. All I ask is, can we just have games that are like kind of at least pretend to be about stuff? Do I really need Johnny Ives Sackboy flying a spaceship shaped exactly like a PlayStation 5 controller? The game looks delightful. All the technical stuff looks delightful. It looks well designed, good intentioned, and all that. But do I really need a video game that's a celebration of the history of all things PlayStation? That sounds like a whole lot like somebody got, held up at gunpoint and forced to make a game-length commercial for the console it's on. No offense. Do I really need a game that is a celebration of the history of the PlayStation? Can't we just have some new PlayStation history, right? Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, if it doesn't have Kratos and Sackboy in it, I'm not interested.
That statement was fairly boneheaded, but to his point, they need to be able to exploit things the way that Nintendo does, because video game business is scary and weird.
That is true.
So I understand that statement, and I do think that actually there needs to be. I mean, they tried doing literally Smash Bros. And that didn't work. But something like this might work.
They should not
in the way that they were going for there.
Yeah, I think they've got some sort of AI scrubber set to this, calibrated to check all the social medias to see which characters get screenshotted like the most angrily.
Right.
I think the Bloodborne character is the Bloodborne bot is the most the most of an anger magnet right now, because people are like, they've got a Bloodborne guy in the game, but they won't re-release Bloodborne. I think they got some NFT salesman sold them on some kind of a script for extracting which things people are most hyped about in there. Like it feels like a goddarn want to win an Amazon gift card for completing a survey, but of video games.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be cynical, I'm going to have a wonderful time when I play it. When I'm seated on my sofa with my controller in hand, I will enjoy that video game. But I'm preserving my negativity here on this microphone right now, and I will be enjoying that game in probably a couple hours. When that's going to be my time. That is the ultimate Taco Bell Fourthmeal video game. Just get blasted in the face with references to stuff that by purchasing it you have pledged your allegiance to.
Sorry, Nürburgring.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to get burger ringed.
I don't know. I think it's smart. The more I think about it, like I think that they're, in the same way that Nintendo was able to like make people care about some IP through a different video game.
Yeah.
They're sort of going out on their own instead of trying to copy Nintendo, but they are doing it with the Nintendo genre. So I don't know if they're really going their own way, but it feels like a much smarter attempt anyway. Than whatever that fighting game was. I don't even remember.
That they should not have made that. All things considered, they've got my money with this thing. Like, I haven't spent it yet, but I will. Like, they're going to have my money. All my cynicism, skepticism, sarcasm, etc. aside, like, it did work. It worked already before I've even played it. I know I'm going to enjoy playing it. It's just there's this looming darkness that is, I think, worth exploring before I get Astro pilled by this game. Right? And that's where I'm at in my life. Star Wars Outlaws, that's my Christmas game.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I have just been thinking about being a big dumb Star Wars baby, so I'm going to end this show so I can get back to it.
Oh, yeah, you just remembered Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, I just remembered Star Wars. Why am I doing anything else?
You're about to pull a Brandon Sheffield here.
They got Bonk in there?
Yeah. Anyway, I'd like to recommend that if you enjoyed this episode, you rate and review us wherever, however you can. Still taking votes on whether or not to cancel Violence Island. I'm reading those in the iTunes reviews. It's about 50-50 right now. Slightly in favor of keeping it, but only slightly. If you'd like to sponsor the show with a personal message, you could do so by writing into show@insertcredit.com. You could support us on patreon.com/insertcredit to keep the show going. If you'd like to join our community, you could do that at forums.insertcredit.com or find us on youtube.com/insertcreditshow. This episode is edited by Esper Quinn with music by Kurt Feldman. I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
I'm Tim Rogers.
And I'll see you on the Nürburgring.
Episode 355, Burger Ringed by Astro Boy is the
is the title.
Burger Ringed by Astro Boy.
Yeah, in my notes, I had Frankrupt, The Gamer's Standard, and Burger Ring. So I knew it was going to be one of those three.
I think Burger Ringed by Astro Boy, RING''D.
Yeah.
Not Astrobot, Astro Boy.
Yeah.
I think that's a good name for a podcast episode. I don't know. You can title it whatever you want. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll kill you.
I'll kill you. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about any of it.